Withholding sex. This is something that happens in many relationships and has the ability to erode your connection to the point of no return. I am going to, in this video, share from my experience the top 6 reasons that both men and women withhold sex, as well as what you can do about it. And I may share some personal experience from my own life, because even though I am a sex and relationship coach, I've had this happen in relationships as well. Because look, relationships are hard. Having a great sex life takes work from everyone involved. To that point, it is important that we get one thing clear. In the beginning of most romantic relationships, sex is easy. People like jackrabbits. The erotic energy is high. All of the chemicals in your body are saying, have sex with this person, mate, 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 mate. Even if you have no intention of having a baby, all of your genetic coding is telling you to have as much sex as possible with this new person. Hopefully, that's an easy time period for most couples. There's a sense of excitement, there's a sense of possibility, hormones and endorphins are running wild on the new connection. It feels like you can't keep your hands off of each other, and then time happens and you get to be more comfortable. You get to be used to this person and you begin to settle into the routines of life. I mean, this usually happens between 1 and 2 years. At this point, your sex life naturally chills out a little bit. And by the way, this is totally normal. And you know what? Thank God that this happens, because we've got jobs, we've got commitments, we've got friends, we've got families, we've got hobbies, okay? We can't live a full and rich life if we're in bed all the time, as nice as that might sound. In a healthy relationship, things do chill, but there is still a sense of desire. Sex is still a priority. It is something that we still make time for. And even though you're not sneaking off at every possible moment to get it in, you're still putting in effort and you're still actively seeking an erotic connection. You're still exploring, you're still getting freaky in the ways that work for you and all that good stuff. But for some couples, something else happens to their sex life. Something happens that leads one partner to begin to pull away and actively choose to deny sex to the other partner. And this is not the same as just say not initiating. This is purposely keeping sex from that partner. And this is called withholding. And it can be disastrous. So why does that happen and what can we do about it? Well, let's dive in with number 1 reason that people withhold sex: broken trust, connection, or safety. Sometimes sex is withheld because one partner just doesn't feel emotionally or physically safe inside of the dynamic. And this can happen for many reasons. Maybe something was said that made that person feel insecure or unwanted. Maybe there was an affair. Maybe something went too far in a previous sexual encounter and now that person feels unsafe to keep having sex. Regardless of what the cause is, this is something that both partners must work together to resolve. And to a certain degree, this all makes sense. We need to feel safe and connected in order to enjoy sex. And if there's a lack of safety in the relationship, it is necessary to get to the bottom of why that rift happens and how you can resolve that to get back to a satisfying sex life. Having a kind and honest conversation where everyone is vulnerable and holds space for each other's emotions will help you to figure out what needs to happen in order to rebuild that sense of trust. It is only then that you will be able to enjoy a great sex life again. And of course, I'm speaking about this like it's easy. It actually takes a Herculean amount of effort. This is Herculean? Ancient Greek god level of effort in order to make this happen. We have to have good communication skills. We have to be humble and willing to look at our own shit. This is something that getting coaching can be really helpful for. Feel free to apply at the link below. I also need to put a big notice flag in this section, because if there's any type of abuse happening in the relationship, then this advice goes straight out the window. If you don't feel safe with your partner because there's emotional or physical or mental abuse, it is not your job to have a quality communication. It's not your job to be vulnerable. It's not your job to fix them. In that case, you should be seeking the support from the people who love you and working to get yourself out of that situation for good. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Get the out. All right. Number 2 reason: resentment or unresolved pain. Sometimes pain from the past can swell up in a relationship and feel like an impossible barrier to overcome. And again, unless the situation involves abuse, then it's up to both partners to work together to overcome it. And that can mean forgiving stuff and letting the past be in the past. Whatever it is, Put your needs out onto the table. Be open about what you're feeling and what you feel that you need in order to get back on track. Fixing the emotional foundation of your relationship is the only way to bring your sex life back to life. One of my own coaches said to me, resentment is the biggest boner killer of all. And honestly, this stuff is very tricky. It is one of the reasons that hiring an expert to have a look at your relationship from the outside is so vital, because sometimes someone is living with a bunch of resentment and pain from the past, but they have actually no idea that that's what's getting in the way. And again, this is something that a coach can help you to solve. All right, number 3, unmet needs or expectations. Your sex life is like the ultimate mirror for the rest of your dynamic. So if something is lacking in one area of your relationship, you can best believe that it is going to show up between the sheets. Is one person pulling more weight around the house or with the kids? Are there issues with how finances are handled and divided? Are you both putting in effort to grow and be healthy communicators? Whatever the issue is, it will always impact your sex life. It's like you can't have a dumpster fire going on outside and then having hot, juicy sex happening on the inside be expected. There are, of course, some expectations that are fair and justified, like that you'll be faithful to your partner and not cheat. Then there are some expectations that are impossible to meet or unfair because they were never spoken and never agreed upon. These are like weeds in the garden of your relationship. If you do not pluck them early, they can take over the whole thing and steal all of the sunshine and water from your tomatoes. Or in this case, lead to one person just straight denying sex and withholding it from the other. Creating balance, speaking expectations, making sure that those expectations are fair. Because expectations are normal, but if they are taken too far, we can veer into toxic territory. Which brings me to number 4, people withhold sex as punishment. You did something that I didn't like, and therefore I'm not gonna have sex with you. This phrase has been spoken or at least communicated non-verbally at least a bajillion times on planet Earth. I mean, withholding sex with the intent to punish our partner is common, but it is wrong. It is one thing to feel hurt and as a result of that hurt, not want to have sex with your partner. That's fine. But when you are withholding sex specifically to punish or guilt a person, or when you're using it as a tool to make someone feel bad, well, things are going to get messy. People are going to get hurt. And you know what? Folks that are in healthy relationships do not punish each other. They speak openly about how they feel, they work towards getting back on track as a team, and they do not use sex as a tool to hurt the other person. So if you feel that this is happening in your relationship, regardless of which side of the coin that you are on, it is time to have an honest conversation with yourself and figure out why this tactic is being used in your relationship. What's the end goal for withholding? I mean, seriously, I ask this of partners who are withholding, like, how long are you going to be able to do this? And most importantly, like, are you willing to let it go and move away from it before the damage gets any worse? Because look, loving another person is a choice. People say that they fall out of love, but I don't actually buy it. I think people choose over and over 1,000,000 times that they either love or don't love another person. And you can choose to love a person and have distance with them. You can choose to love a person and divorce them. You can choose to love a person and build a life with them, or you can choose not to. Ultimately, you are not at the whim of Cupid with his arrows. You are an adult human person who has agency in your relationships. You choose how you use love and how you experience it. And that brings me, unfortunately, to number 5, which is using sex as a commodity. Now, commodity is something that is bought and sold, right? And on the other side of using sex for punishment is using it as a commodity, like a reward. Giving out sex when your partner does something that you approve of. When the withholding person thinks that there's something worth rewarding, they'll give you the sex, and if they don't have something worth rewarding, then they withhold it. When sex becomes symbolic of a reward and not simply an expression of pleasure, desire, and connection between two people, you know that you're off track. Sex is a vital part of the glue that holds a relationship together. It should not be used as a weapon, as a gift, as a reward, as a punishment, none of that. So if you find yourself in a relationship in which you have to do things, buy things, go places, attend events, whatever it is, in order to earn sex, then you need to seek some support. And that brings me to the last reason that people commonly withhold sex. Number 6, manipulation. Different kinds of personalities, especially those with narcissistic tendencies, can use sex to maintain power in their relationships. And sadly, there are many people out there who will both give and withhold sex strategically in order to maintain an upper hand in a relationship. And this is dangerous. Not just because the person on the receiving end can be made to feel unworthy and undesired or loved and validated, depending on the whims of their partners, but because it creates a feeling of inequality, a lack of emotional safety in the relationship. The important thing to mention is that not every person who is withholding sex in a toxic way is even aware of what they're doing. I mean, even the most hurtful behaviors always come from a twisted attempt at our own coping in our own internal world. But regardless of whether the withholding partner is trying to manipulate or hurt or not, it is still important to stand up for yourself. Your sex life matters. Having a healthy sex life in your romantic partnership is important. If you want it, it fucking matters. Because as I said before, withholding can have disastrous effects on a relationship. It can end an otherwise happy relationship. It can end a happy marriage. I mean, again, like I said at the beginning of this video, I am a celebrated sex coach with a big YouTube following that maybe includes you if you subscribe. And this is something that I have dealt with in my own relationships, okay? I've worked with my own coaches, my own therapists, my own guides to support me in navigating those times where sex and it's being withheld were causing damage to my romantic partnerships. I hope that this video has shown a light on the many different reasons that someone might be withholding sex either consciously or unconsciously, and let you know that even though it is difficult, it is not impossible to find your way back to a healthy sex life. If you'd like our help, please apply at the description below. Either way, please make sure that you're subscribed to this channel so that you can get new information from me every single week on how to have the best sex ever. And in this case, relationship as well. I appreciate you so much for tuning in. I'm Caitlin B. I'll see you here next week.